Hello, Ramen Nation. Chris Cobain here, bringing you guys week 13 of the... Wait, no, that's wrong. Week 12. Wow. Week 12. I've made a mistake, finally. Week 12 of the National Pokemon Association, the Philadelphia Braviaries, and myself are taking on Coach Papasea and the New York Klinks. As of right now, I believe we are 8-2. The Klinks are 3-7. So they haven't had a very good year so far, but Papa's a really good battler. He's actually a former champion of a different draft league, so he knows what he's doing. He's a good battler, just hasn't had, I don't think he got the draft he wanted, and his year has been kind of lackluster, but he's still a good battler, and he's certainly not someone we can take lightly this week. We are still looking to lock up #1 seed in the entire conference, let alone our division, the Red Division. And we are, I believe, 1 game ahead of Pokemon, who we beat earlier in the season, which gives us that advantage. We also have a better overall division record right now and a far better differential, so we're carrying all the tie breaks against him right now. But we are only 1 game ahead with 2 games left. Winning this, I believe, if we win this week, I think we're insured because of the fact that we win all the tiebreakers. Even if we lose to Lindo next week, we would be, and he wins next week, then we would be the same record, the same division record, but I have the better differential, and I have him beat head-to-head, which differential comes first anyway. So we should be good if we win this week. So we didn't really go Mimi. We went a little like heat last week with Azelf and Cough Egregious and stuff. This week it's a little more common. There is some off-kilter sets that we haven't run yet this season. One specifically I know we have yet to run at all. But it's a good looking team. First and foremost though, let's check out Papa's team as per usual. We'll check him out first. Starting off with the second, who we draft first last season? Garchomp. Yeah, the second pick last year for the Blazikins then, Jirachi. So I already know, obviously, everything Jirachi can do going into this. Jirachi is just, it's base 100 across the board. It's super annoying with Serene Grace. It can be very bulky on either side, very offensive on either side. It's got the move pool to do both very, very well. It gets Wish, so it can heal itself and the team. What doesn't it get, to be honest? It gets all the punches, Iron Head, Meteor Mash, it gets Psy Shock, it gets Zen Headbutt, Flash Cannon, Psychic, Psy Shock, Shadow Ball, Thunderbolt, freaking Calm Mind, which I used it to beat Dan last season, you guys will remember. Substitute, Thunder Wave, you name it, it freaking gets it. It's ridiculous. One of the best Pokemon, in my opinion, in the entire Draft League format because of its versatility. It's more versatile, in my opinion, than any other base 100 legendary, just because of the fact that Serene Grace allows it to be super annoying, and the Wishing allows it to be a lot more confident of a healer, in my opinion. And plus, its move pool is ridiculous. It's better than Celebi's and stuff like that. So, moving on, we got Klefki, his second straight Steel-type. Klefki's just a really annoying Prankster user. Now, remember, they did nerf Prankster so that it doesn't work against Dark types, but unfortunately, we don't have a Dark type on our draft, so we're nothing immune to him in general. We do have, obviously, immunities to Thunder Wave, which he likes to run, and Dugtrio and Zygarde and Thundurus, so that's not that big a deal. But he can set up spikes. That can be very annoying. He does hit fairly hard with Dazzling Gleam. Stuff like that. Very, very annoying. He can set up screens, obviously. Regular Kyurem. We faced Kyurem back early in the season. Regular Kyurem nowhere near as threatening, to be honest. It's still a very good mon, though. Base 95 speed makes it pretty fast. It does have a pretty solid move pool. Ice Beam, Draco Meteor, Earth Power, stuff like that. Very likely to run Him Power Fire should he decide to bring it because of Scizor, just like they did with Kyurem Black earlier in the year. The one saving grace for us about Kyurem this time is that it does not have access to Fusion Bolt, which Kyurem Black did, which means it really has no way to fight past Primarina. So that's a positive. It does have Earth Power, though, for Empoleon. Clawitzer, a Mega Launcher Pokemon, one of just a very, very strong hitter in general. It is pretty slow, but it is pretty bulky as well. Has a lot of things to make use of that Mega Launcher ability with Water Pulse, Dark Pulse, Aura Sphere. It gets Flash Cannon, I believe, Dragon Pulse. It gets all those. Obviously, it gets Ice Beam as well. It can be Scarfed. It's a very good specs. It can be very good Assault Vest as well to take a Thunderbolt from Thundurus and one tap back with Ice Beam. That's always a possibility. His second of 2 members of the Blazikins last year, Gligar. Gligar was our black sheep last year, much like Leafeon. Feels bad, man. Is this year. We only got to run him once, and I believe that was week 1. But that was mostly because Garchomp forced ice attacks, and it kind of hurt Gligar that way. Gligar on his team's actually a lot better, and actually something I fully 100% expect him to bring this week. It's very, very bulky. Eviolite, obviously. It can be either Hypercutter or Immunity. Keep in mind that if it is Immunity, it cannot have Defog. Those are not compatible, so if, you know, for whatever reason we find out he's can be poisoned, or if we find out he's Hypercutter through some method, then we can figure out if he's carrying Defog or not. Obviously, it doesn't do a whole lot offensively. Earthquake, knockoff, U-turn. It can set up Swords Dance if it wants to. It can be a taunter. I believe it is base 85, which is really deceptively fast. Remember, Gligar was a single evolution at one point. He's got Levani as his tier 5. Levani is most notably a sticky web setter. It can be a Swords Dance attacker as well. I believe it's 92 or 93 base speed, which is nothing to sneeze at. Leaf Blade, Neck Scissor are its main ways of dealing damage. I think it gets knockoff as well, but if he does bring it, it will be a sticky web setter. We have ways to handle that, no big deal. Mega Alakazam, a total monster. Obviously, he's 150 base speed. He gets Trace, which would actually be very, very problematic for us for a couple of reasons. Namely, he can Trace Volt Absorb from Thundurus, making immune to electric attacks. That's not good. And he can also actually Trace Tech from Scizor, which, if he's carrying Hidden Power Fire, is super terrifying considering it's a Tech boost. There's other stuff like that that he could actually trace Arena Trap and counter trap the trio if he wanted to. Stuff like that you gotta look out for. There's a couple of things he could do that could be actually kind of problematic. Very, very strong. Calm Mind Sweeper if it wants to be. He can run Substitute, Psychic and Psyshock, Shadow Ball, Energy Ball, Focus Blast, Dazzling Gleam, etc., etc., etc. He gets a bunch of stuff. Zapdos. Zapdos is his best way of hazard control. He does have multiple forms of it, but this is his best way by far. The one thing about Zapdos this week is I don't believe he'll run Defog on it. It's very fast, obviously base 100. It's very, very hard. And the crazy thing about it is while Zapdos' coverage is notably very bad, to be honest, it actually destroys our team specifically. Thunderbolt, Heat Wave, and Hidden Power Ice actually covers our team perfectly. It hits almost every Pokemon on our team for super effective damage. Which is actually crazy when you think about it. So it can be very, very threatening. So I do expect him to bring Zapdos all three of those moves. The thing about it is his last move will probably be Roost. So I'll keeping in mind he likely is not going to be running Defog on it, but it is very scary. Blastoise, his other really good way of hazard move, of course, his third is Gligar, we already mentioned. Rapid Spinner, it's not the mega one, so it's not nearly as threatening, but Blastoise is still very bulky and can still be very threatening at times with Scald. Dark Pulse, it's Call for Regis very hard if I try to stop him from if I try to spin block him like that. It also gets Ice Beam and all this stuff that Mega Blastoise gets, it does get now, including things like Aura Sphere, so it's got a lot of coverage. Doesn't hit as near as hard as Mega Blastoise, obviously, and it's not as bulky, but it's still a scary Pokemon, definitely something that could be coming. Blaziken, the regular version. Note that Blaziken cannot be running Speed Boost, it is just Blaziken, so there's that. That said, though, Blaziken is actually fairly threatening against me. We do have Primarina on the team to help deter it, but because of the amount of special threats he has on his team, namely stuff like Zam and Kyurem, and Clawitzer for that matter, we're not really able to run max full defense Primarina like we've done in the past. So, a really strong, like, banded Blaziken actually hits Primarina really hard. I think it could actually two-hit it with Flare Blitz if it's banded, I believe, which is actually kind of insane when you think about it. Obviously, a lot of right cool there, though. But it also gets High Jump Kick, Thunder Punch, Brave Bird. It gets a lot of stuff. It could definitely be something that's very scary, and one of the most threatening things he's got against us, to be honest. And we ran off the team with Pinsir. Pinsir's one of those mons you don't see very often because it's not nearly as good as its Mega counterpart, obviously, but it is a good Pokemon. I believe it's base 85. It gets Mold Breaker, which can actually be somewhat of an issue. But not too much of one, so it should be okay. Obviously, X-Scissor, I believe it gets Close Combat, it gets Earthquake, you know, the stuff like that. It doesn't get the Aerialate that the Mega gets, so things like Return and Quick Attack aren't showing up, but it doesn't matter. Pinsir can actually do a lot of damage. The only thing about him is that he's super walled by Scizor, so it's one of those things. He's actually pretty walled by Primarina as well, so I'd be pretty surprised to see Pinsir, but who knows? I've been surprised in the past before. So with that, let's go ahead and take a look at the team. Papa's team is definitely very, very scary and can do a lot of work against us. But I think we're at the 6 we need to put some work in, and that starts off with Slick the Scizor. This week we are running, I believe, I believe for the first time we're running a straight offensive, not a straight offensive, but a max offensive scissor. I don't believe we've done this before. He is Adamant Swarm, which obviously will turn into tech with the Scissorite, running 252 attack with that Adamant nature, 220 special defense, and 36 speed, just to put the rest in speed there. 220 special defense just helps him fight things a lot better. Jirachi, it can very likely be special. If it is physical, it's got Fire Punch, so it doesn't matter either way. It helps him fight Kirim, it helps him fight Clawter, it helps him fight Alakazam, it helps him fight Blastoise. Keep in mind, a lot of those things to be running Hidden Power Fire. Very likely that it runs Hidden Power Fire Kirim, Hidden Power Fire Alakazam, Heat Wave Zapdos, and he could even be running Hidden Power Fire Klefki if he wanted to. So there is that, but we do have ways to handle that kind of stuff. We do have Bullet Punch, Roost, Pursuit, and U-Turn. Didn't think we needed Swords Dance with all the offensive pressure we have here. Bullet Punch is for general power. Obviously, it hits a lot of stuff very, very hard. Pursuit is for Alakazam specifically. Bullet Punch does, I believe it does like 80-ish. So if we get a little bit of chip damage on Alakazam, he could really fear a Bullet Punch. He's not going to see Pursuit coming too much. We have not run Pursuit on Scizor all year. So he'll see Bullet Punch coming. He might want to switch out into something like Gligar or something else like that, or Zapdos to try to take like a U-turn or try to eat that Bullet Punch, and all of a sudden Pursuit hits him. Bam. He's dead. Big threat gone. I will have to try to scout for that Hidden Power Fire, definitely. I don't want to, if he's not in Bullet Punch range, then I can't stay in unless I Bullet Punch, unless I'm aware he's not Hidden Power Fire, because it's very easy for him to bring. If he does not run Hidden Power Fire, he's walled by Scizor. If he doesn't run Focus Blast, he's walled by Empoleon. If he doesn't run Thunderbolt, he can't really stop Primarina. Stuff like, if he doesn't run Dazzling, he can't hurt Zygarde too much. So it's something where he's got like the 4-move syndrome, where he's gonna have to pick and choose his moveset, just like he will with Zapdos. But if he's not running Power Fire, that should be pretty easy for us. Moving on to the second stop, we are skipping out on Zygarde this week, which is actually kind of crazy when you think about it, but we are running Raigeki yet again. So we decided to go against Zygarde for a couple of reasons. A lot of stuff on Papa's team is just faster than us in general. Jirachi, Kirim, Speed, Ties, Zam, Zapdos, all faster, not to mention Blaziken can be Scarfed, and we didn't feel like we had a ton of opportunity to set up on him. Like a Dragon Dance set would have been really nice. But the only thing we could really set up for is Gligar, and we'd have to set up Sub first. And it was just a little too complicated for us to want to do it. We did debate on Scarf Zygarde, but that seemed a little too weird, I guess, to run. Not to mention the fact that even with Dragon Dance, he's pretty easily walled by Gligar. Anyway, Raigeki is one of our sweepers this week. What else is new? He's running Timid, Volt Absorb, Electrium Z, because he is our Z move user almost every single week. He's running pure max offense, max special attack, max speed, 4 special defense. Pretty simple. Thunderbolt, Double Dance, Agility, Nasty Plot, Hidden Power Ice for the Gligar, and the Lavani. The one thing on his team that really does work against us is the Kirim. Obviously, if we do chip him a lot and get rocks up and get a Nasty Plot up, we can actually hurt him somewhat with Hidden Power Ice. But otherwise, he does top us pretty well. We actually started off with Dark Pulse on him to hit the Jirachi, and we actually started off with Dark Neem Z for that. But we determined with Nasty Plot on him, it wasn't really that big a deal. We didn't need the dark coverage on him. So pretty much, he either gets destroyed by Thunderbolt, or he switches into Gligar and dies to Hidden Power Ice. Max Special Defense Gligar does not die to a single Hidden Power Ice, so there's that, which I do expect him to run that. But if he is a little chipped, or I set up Nasty Plot, he will die. Essentially, if I can get rid of Kirim here, if he doesn't bring it, or we can chip it at all, like just, do about half his health, maybe we have rocks up, stuff like that, then setting up both wins us the game. 100%. Everything dies to Thunderbolt, Hidden Power Ice, or in the case of stuff like Zapdos or really bulky Jirachi, they do die to a +2 Gigavolt Havoc, no problem. So just requires a little bit of chip, he's good to go. Jumping in third, we've got our Rock Setter and our Defogger, King DDD, the Empoleon. He is running a max specially defensive set because that is very important this week. He's Calm, Torn, obviously, with the leftovers, running 252 HP, 252 special defense, 4 in the special attack, running Scald, Rocks, Defog, and Flash Cannon. There's not much to say about this set, to be honest. It's pretty basic. Scald just hits things hard. Obviously, can fish for burns on a lot of stuff. Stealth Rocks is obvious. Defog is obvious. It's for the Lavani. It's for the Klefki. Flash Cannon hits Kieran. That's pretty much it. I guess his Levani too. Everything else, just you Scald. He is a little walled by Clawitzer. Obviously can't do a ton to him. He is walled by Blastoise as well, but not really that big a deal. We can fish for burns if nothing else, and he's a phenomenal switch into Klefki and stuff like that. Jumping in fourth this week, I like this set a lot. I know we've tossed Scarf Doug Trio up in the air a couple of times. I don't know if we've actually run him, but this week we are in fact running Scarf Doug Trio, and I feel like this set's gonna be really, really important. He is running Adamant with obviously Arena Trap with that Choice Scarf. We're running 252 attack, 36 special defense, 220 speed, which is going to allow him to outspeed Scarf Max Speed Jirachi, or Zapdos for that matter. This thing's just important because of the weakness the ground he has. The same reason Zygarde went really nice. Same reason that is the reason that Dugtrio's insane here. He's really easily able to trap Jirachi, Klefki, Alakazam actually, and Blaziken all very, very well. With that Adamant 252 attack, he hits incredibly hard. He does 96% or so to Alakazam. So if one set of rocks coming in on him, he's dead easily. So Earthquake just does that very well. Stone Edge is very clearly for Zapdos more so than anything. It also hits Kieran very hard as well. And also it's Levani for what that's worth. Toxic is for different things. We can hit Zapdos with a Toxic. We can hit Stoice with a Toxic. We can actually hit Gligar with the Toxic if we figure out that he's Hyper Cutter instead of, like, if he defogs, we know he's not immunity. And then there's Memento. So Memento is actually very, very important this week. I think we've run Memento on Doug before, but this is actually a big one. Because if we use Memento with Doug Trio and hit Zapdos, which will be a switch in if he figures out I'm Scarfed, we can easily set up with one of our two sweepers this week. Now, one of them's Thundurus. I haven't mentioned the other one yet. We haven't gotten to him yet, but we'll get to him in a second. But if we can mentor that Zapdos, it allows either of our two setup sweepers to easily set up on that Zapdos either way. And once we set up one of those two sweepers, it's kind of GG. He's got like one solid answer for both of them. Kieran for Raigeki, and then you'll see in a second when we get to the other one. But Memento is actually very important, and Doug Trio is very important. Obviously, the Scarf helps him outspeed Alakazam. It helps him outspeed Scarf Jirachi, which is important. It helps him outspeed Scarf Blaziken, Scarf Kieran. All those potential Scarfers, all useless, as long as we can keep Doug Trio alive. Coming in for the fifth slot this week, we're running Primarina, the glue that holds our team together. Yet again, we are unable to run a full offensive set because of threats like Kieran and Blaziken. We need to run him defensive. This set's actually pretty crazy. We're running Bold, Torrent Leftovers, with, check this out, 252 HP, 32 defense, 88 special attack, 136 speed. That's a pretty crazy one. So basically, you throw 252 HP just to max it out. The 32 defense allows Primarina to take 2 Banded Flare Blitzes from Blaziken. Yes, it needs that. The 88 special attack allows it to one-shot Kieran with Moonblast after Stealth Rocks. The rest is thrown to special defense because his team is mostly specially defensive. Scald, Ice Beam, Light Screen, Moonblast. Oh, especially offensive, excuse me. Scald, Ice Beam, Light Screen, Moonblast. Light Screen's very obvious for all his special threats. Like I said, we've been over him. Zapdos, Alakazam, potentially Jirachi, stuff like that. Kieran. Scald just hits things hard. Ice Beam is for Zapdos. Moonblast is obvious. Pretty simple set. The EV spread's pretty crazy, but other than that, it's pretty simplistic. And not a big deal. So that leaves us with our last Pokemon of the week, and as our second setup sweeper. And I mean, why not? He's done work. So Cough Egregious, Majora. First thing you need to note, look at his team. How many things stops Ghost? Answer, 0. No resistances, no immunities, everything takes Shadow Ball, at least neutral, and a couple of cases takes it super effectively. We are running a mono attacking set because he needs nothing other than Shadow Ball. We're running Calm, Mummy obviously, Leftovers, running max special defense, 252, with that Calm nature, 4 in his defense as well. Shadow Ball, Calm Mind, Rest Talk. Very simple. So like I said before, if we set up Memento on that Zapdos, he comes in, hits up that Calm Mind. It's pretty much just ouch. The one thing he's got on his team that can really do work against us is actually going to be Zam. If we do set up Calm Mind, Shadow Ball won't hit very hard, but because we are max specially defensive, we do not like taking Psyshock all that well. So we gotta work out for that. He's not as threatening to Kaffa as Kirim is to Raigeki, but he's definitely something that can be a problem for him, especially if he gets a little chip. So the plan with this guy is just set up Calm Mind. Rest Talk keeps him super duper healthy. If I get a couple of Calm Minds off, and Alakazam's gone or Alakazam doesn't have Psyshock, that's just GG. We just sweep through his entire team, no problem. Zapdos can't do enough damage to stop us from Calm Minding, so if we go in max, we can actually Calm Mind right in his face and then rest up. I believe if we're +1, Thunderbolt does less than 30%, so we can just rest on him all day. Same thing with Jirachi. It's likely he loves running special Jirachi. Even if it's physical, it's not going to do enough damage, especially when Mummy takes away Serene Grace and he stops flinching us so much. Kirim's exactly the same. Clawitzo's exactly the same. Blastoise is the same. Like, if we get up Calm Minds, his special attackers just don't matter anymore. Not to mention, we can set up Light Screen and just laugh at him that way with Primarina. So, either way, it'll work just fine. And that, ladies and germs, is the end. That's the team. So, he's got a good team. Papa's got a good team. He's got a solid matchup against us. But I think we outplay him here. I think our team has more than enough to fight him off. The few threats he really has, things like Blaziken and Kirim, we just have too good of ways to stuff them. Dugtrio does too much work against his team. He can run Shed Shell if he wants on either Blaziken or Jirachi. Shed Shell Blaziken's a joke. And Jirachi Shed Shell, while being annoying, really wouldn't be that big a deal in general, just because he'd be missing out on like leftovers or any kind of item like that could really be huge for him. So, with this team, the point is to sweep one way or another. Either we get rid of Kirim and we win with Thundurus, or we get rid of Alakazam and we win with Majora. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Either way, if we can get rid of the one threat, we memento something, specifically the Zapdos most likely, or even the Alakazam can be mementoed. I don't see myself mementoing Alakazam. I would probably rather just Earthquake him to death. But if I see an opportunity to be like, well, if he's minus this, we set up Agility, we set up Nasty Plot, we win, right? So it's something that we can think about. So, thank you guys for watching the Team Builder. As per usual, I appreciate it. Match goes live. I don't even know anymore. May 13th. It's Thursday. Yeah, May 13th. Make sure you guys check it out. If we win this match, pretty sure we're guaranteed #1 seed. So it's a very, very important one. Make sure you guys check it out. As always, I appreciate it. You guys enjoy the rest of your day. I will see you guys in Week 13 as we take on Papasea in the new... Week 12! Damn it! As we take on Papasea and the New York Klinks, alright? Alright, peace, Ramen Nation. See you guys in the match.